Now, here's the cool part about synthetic division. Synthetic division can be used in other ways other than dividing. So there is a theorem or a rule it's called the remainder theorem. You can actually use synthetic division to evaluate functions as well. Let's take a trip down memory lane here and look and think back to Algebra 1. When you were taking Algebra 1 and I said to evaluate this function where f of x is negative 3x to the third plus 4x squared minus 17x minus 6. Oh, and by the way, x equals 2. What would you do? Well, your Algebra 1 self would go, oh, so this is the function and it's telling me that x is 2? Oh, I know how to do this. I'll just take 2 and plug it in for all of the x's. Yes, that is called evaluating, and you could certainly do that. You don't have to use synthetic division. If you're perfectly comfortable with evaluating the old-fashioned way by just plugging in 2, you can. But sometimes the math can get real messy when trying to plug things in and cubing things and making sure that you do the exponents first, that sometimes, just sometimes, it might be easier to use synthetic division. So I'm going to show you how both ways produce the same answer. So let's do it the old-fashioned way, where you just plug 2 in. So the way that this worked is you did negative 3, and then you substituted the 2 to the third, plus 4, substituted the 2 squared, minus 17 times 2, minus 6. You had to remember that exponents come first, and so you need to do this first. 2 to the third is 8. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. 4 squared is 4 times 4 is 16. And negative 17 times 2 is negative 34 and minus 6. So I end up with negative 24 plus 16 minus 34 minus 6. So negative 24 plus 16 is negative 8. Negative 8 and negative 34 is negative 42, and negative 6 is negative 48. So I end up with negative 48. You can use a simple calculator there to do that math. But now I'm going to show you how you can use synthetic division to get the exact same answer and what might be actually quicker and easier. You have a choice after this lesson. When evaluating, you can do it the old-fashioned way, the way you learned before, or this new way using synthetic division. So we're going to run synthetic division. Now, because I'm not dividing, I don't have a divisor. And so I don't need to think about what makes my divisor 0. I can use the actual solution here in my corner. I don't use the opposite sign. I fill in all of the numbers without the variables, so negative 3, 4, negative 17, negative 6. I draw a line, run my synthetic division. That drops down. That's negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 4 and negative 6 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 17 and negative 4 is negative 21. 2 times negative 21 is negative 42. And negative 6 and negative 42 is negative 48. Would you look at that? The remainder of my synthetic division is the same as the answer. And that is what is called the remainder theorem. The remainder theorem states that if you run synthetic division for evaluating, whatever you get as the remainder is actually the answer. So, some of you may choose to just, you know what, Mr. G, I don't want to learn anything new. My brain is full, and I don't want to do that. I already know how to do this, and so that's what I'm going to do for evaluating. Perfectly fine. Just wanted to show you that you can use synthetic division to do the same thing, and sometimes it's easier and faster. The last problem here I'm going to let you sort of do on your own. Keep in mind that when running synthetic division, if it skips over any terms, like here it's missing the x to the third and the x, you're going to have to put placeholders of 0 in place. So go ahead and pause the video, use whatever method you want, You can certainly use the old-fashioned evaluate where you just plug this in for the x, or use synthetic division. Okay, so there is your answer. Using synthetic division and putting the -1 here, using all of my places, including the ones that are missing, running synthetic division, I end up with 4. If you chose to do it the old-fashioned way, you should have gotten the same answer. The answer is 4. That's division and using synthetic division to evaluate. Thanks.